very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. Bringing you the news this evening, I'm Steven Machado. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
For hardware, B2B.lk.
Villainous forces will be defeated and education reforms will be implemented for national development. An assurance from Minister Nandanda Sir.
Sajid Vimal, Dilip, Namal, Ara, Utsamti Nayakavana, Deshpalna, Priyadaria. Kepas Katua, Karan Hadaname, Visabija Karakavade, Abiparaja Pakran.
Protests continue in several areas, demanding for deferred education reforms to be implemented. Strict legal action against police officers who support criminals and drug traffickers. A warning from the IGP. 23 houses at the foot of the Ambuluava mountain in Gampola at high risk due to the threat of landslides and rockfalls. Authorities recommend residents to be evacuated immediately. Trump imposes extra tariffs on 8 countries including Denmark for opposing the acquisition of Greenland. European leaders protest against additional tariffs. EU and Mercosur bloc of South American nations signed landmark free trade agreement after 25 years of lengthy discussions. Will Bangladesh play in the T20 World Cup? Special discussion between the ICC and Bangladesh cricket authorities.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
For safety items, B2B.lk.
Taking a look at your top story tonight, Minister of Health and Media Dr. Nandanda emphasizes that steps taken toward educational transformation will continue uninterrupted.
Sajid Premadasa හඳුන්වා දුන වචනයක් අධ්‍යාපන අසභ්‍යකරණය. සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස අධ්‍යාපන අසභ්‍යකරණය කිව්වා. විමල් වීරවංශගේ තාත්තා අගමැති නොවිච්ච නිසා එයාට රෝයල් එකට යන්න බැරි වීම නිසාත්
Sajid Premadasa introduced a term, vulgarization of education. Just because Vimal Veeravansa's father wasn't a minister and he couldn't go to Royal College like Sajid did, and just because Vimal Veeravansa's father wasn't the president, he couldn't go to the London School of Economics like Sajid. What Sajid called vulgarization of education, Vimal said in a colloquial language. I won't repeat that here. They both said the same thing. Sajid went to Royal and London thanks to his father. Vimal couldn't achieve that, but they are political twins. In Professor Amarakirthi's book titled Atavakaputtu from Peradeniya University, there is a character. Sajid and Vimal are like two sides of that. They talk about vulgarity. But where did they even find this in the education reform that was brought to change the country's future? It's from a single page in this English module. There are several lessons for 3 terms across 3 modules. In one lesson called Finding Friends, there is a lesson on finding a friend where the word net was used. Yes, putting that in was irresponsible. We will ensure the National Institute of Education takes the necessary disciplinary action. I saw another person saying the government had a hidden agenda, claiming that you can see it on the book cover because it looks like the LGBT flag. Just because this book has several colors, they get that feeling. When you look at this book, do you feel anything? Does it look like the SJB color? Or the Pohotua color in this book? That was their second example. The third was Gamman Pilla, who said that in the grade 1 environment activity book, where children go outside to observe clouds, rivers, trees and animals, there is also a rainbow mentioned. He claims the colors of the rainbow are the colors of the LGBT flag. Who are we even supposed to tell these things to? Why are they doing this? It's simple. They aren't ready to develop this country or allow the social change needed to create a citizen for the 21st century and beyond. Sajid, Vimal, Dilip, Namal and a certain trade union leader, This set of people injected germs into the child of education reform and are now trying to kill it. They cannot implement their ruled politics anymore. When our children become citizens who are critical, discerning, knowledgeable about the world and original thinkers, you can't play the old games with them. Then anyone would know you can't cause infertility by squeezing fallopian tubes with 2 fingers. They would know that snakes can't emerge from the earth. Even if one did emerge, a child would ask how it couldn't break through a glass bottle then. A generation that cannot be hoodwinked will be born. They won't be able to use Aswasuma or Samurdi for political gains and say, I'll give you a loan, come and work for the election. We want to create a citizen who knows their skills, thinks of others and knows the world. Therefore, we cannot let these reforms be destroyed. We decided to delay the grade 6 module by a few months, discuss it and protect the growing child completely. Education reforms will not be stopped. The grade 1 reforms will start on the 29th of January. We will correct the error in the grade 6 book, punish those responsible and have a good dialogue on it. We must defeat the poisonous work of that group of 5, Sajid, Vimal, Dilit, Namal and that trade union political activist. We must ensure such disruptive and treacherous acts don't happen again. We must protect education reform, defeat those small but wicked forces and make these reforms succeed. That must be the foundation of national development.
අර ඊටාම කුඩා නමුත් ඒ දුෂ්ට බලවේගයේ පරාජයට පත් කරලා මේ ප්‍රතිසංස්කරණ ජයග්‍රහණය කළ යුතුමයි. ඒක තමයි ජාතික සංවර්ධනයේ අඩිතාලම් බවට අපි පත් කරගන්නේ.
The minister expressed these views while attending a seminar in Kandy, organised by the National Movement for Education Reform.
As a mother, I was looking forward to this great hope that my children would learn something different from what I learned. If we look at the current system, only a small percentage of children who enter grade 1 make it to advanced level education. What happens to those who drop out along the way? However, when this new education system was introduced to us, we saw that no child gets left behind. Every child has a path. Every child has a future and a dream. I was so excited, wishing for our children to reach a place where they can have a beautiful life in a beautiful, prosperous country.
අපි කතා කරන්නේ ප්‍රතිසංස්කරණය දෙහාට ගිහිල්ලා රිෆෝමින් කියන වචනේ මෙහාට ගිහිල්ලා 2023 වචනයක් යුනෙස්කෝ හඳුන්වා දෙනවා.
We are talking about moving beyond mere reform. In 2023, UNESCO introduced a term that goes beyond the word reforming. It is transforming. A transformative change. Whether the feedback is good or bad, we appreciate the dialogue. Those who truly expect a transformation in education are engaging in an intellectual conversation. However, we know that due to opportunistic trends, it becomes difficult to reach a specific goal. Therefore, we established this national movement for education reform with the objective of building the broad discourse that must absolutely be created today.
අධ්‍යාපන ප්‍රතිසංස්කරණ උදෙසා මේ ජාතික ව්‍යාපාරය
You may know of Hypatia, who lived in Alexandria, Egypt. She was a female mathematician and philosopher. Her father was the same. At that time, there was no place for women or those with radical thinking who sought new discoveries. What happened because of her new discoveries? Because she went against the prevailing theism of the area. Hypatia was killed. She was murdered in a cruel manner. I see the attack directed at our Prime Minister, Sister Harini, in the same way. These people think that by targeting and attacking her, they can stop this movement. But people are sensitive. In history, certain things happen only once. The second time it repeats, it is treated as a comedy. That is what is happening today. Therefore, we must absolutely carry out these education reforms. Even though we hold such power, we have no desire to impose that power as a force upon the people. Today, parents handing over their children to grade 1 have gained a new confidence. They believe that after 13 years, when the child leaves school, they will emerge as someone whose future is secure and who can fulfill their quota of service to this country. We will build the same trust for the grade 6 children, which was shaken by a very small minority, and implement this. Thank you very much.
The The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna says that they are prepared to build a modern generation. The youth convention of the party was held this morning in Kiribathgoda.
අද වෙනකොට අපේ අල්ලපු ආසනේ අල්ලපු රට ඉන්දියාව සමස්ත තාක්ෂණයෙන් බිලියන 250ක් වෙනවා. අපේ ආර්ථිකයවත් නැහැ. අපේ රටේ ආර්ථිකයවත් නැහැ. හැබැයි නාමල් රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? ඩිජිටල් ආර්ථිකයක් අපි හදනවා කියන එක.
නාමල් රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාගේ දේශපාලන ගමන් මග ඇතුලේ
In Namal Rajapaksa's political journey, his vision was never about short-term solutions for those playing politics today or tomorrow. When he speaks with us, he often emphasizes that the country must develop by looking 10 or 15 years ahead. Remember this, we are building and leading this youth generation as a massive force to stand behind Namal Rajapaksa when he becomes president in 2029. Furthermore, there is another aspect to his vision, our young boys and girls of the Gen Z generation that are very keen on building a creator economy. We are researching and discussing this extensively. Do not think we are simply talking about doing TikToks. We are engaging with a generation that lives alongside AI.
I first encountered the politician Prasanna Ranavira during the 2020 elections where he was a deputy minister. I was taken aback. I realized this is a man one must truly meet. A man capable of incredible work. I felt that if he was told to, he could have the whole of Sri Lanka growing chilies and perhaps export value added to chili powder to the entire world. The third time I met him was when we had all fallen to the lowest point politically. It was then I realized he is a truly remarkable character and my respect for him grew immensely. I decided then that if he ever contests an election again, I would come and speak at his rallies. He called me every single day this week. Every day he told me, brother, you must come and speak about the digital economy. He would even cite specific facts and figures. He constantly pushed me to speak about these new trends and insisted these are points that must be highlighted. Therefore, National Organizer Namal Rajapaksa, today you are creating a new path for this country.
දේශපාලන පක්ෂයක් බවට පත් කරන්න කියලා ඒකට ඔබට බොහොම ස්තුතියි. අපි විශ්වාස කරන්නේ තරුණයා මේ රටේ ඊළඟ පරම්පරාවට අපි සූදානම් කළ යුතුයි කියන කාරණේ.
We believe that we must prepare the youth for the next generation of this country. The phone update you have today is not what will be there in a month. In this modern world, a modern generation must act in the present. If we want to enter the global creator economy, we must do it now. We are positioning ourselves alongside the world's top industrial zones, investors and technological revolution. We are building a modern political force for that purpose. We aren't building youth organizations and fronts just for cutouts, posters or Facebook comments. We sincerely believe that only if a group of like-minded people is built in this country, we can easily achieve the journey we envision.
A protest was held today opposite the Anuradhapura bus stand, calling for the reinstatement of the education reforms of grade 6, which were postponed to next year. The demonstration was organized by the Teachers and Parents Association, advocating for education reforms.
This is about a single page. They can remove it. We do not want to interfere in other modules. Millions were spent to train teachers and prepare students for the new reforms. Children were happy with the new reforms to come. This is a sensitive issue, which is why we've come here. You can't just skim the surface. You need to address the deeper problems. Some people say our children's future is at stake, and if this fails, our children will have to carry the weight of it. That's why we make these sacrifices for the future of our country. It does not matter if our children are the first to go through this. We support them fully.
ඒකට අපි සහයෝගය දෙනවා. මම මේ මොඩියුල් එක පුහුණුව ලබාගත් රජයේ ගුරුවරිය.
I am a government teacher who received training on this module. I can say from experience how valuable this training is for children and how it prepares them for the future. The students are ready and parents are eager to see them learn. We also support this wholeheartedly. The textbooks are clear and simple and the lessons are designed so children can easily grasp them. In a class of 40 students, all 40 can progress together under these reforms. Be it a term or a month, even if there are minor delays, corrections can be made. This is the education system we need. It's not about any political agenda. We are unbiased parents in this exercise. We do not have any interest in promoting any political agenda or in criticizing the opposition through our demonstration. Our only concern is our children's future.
විපක්ෂයට බයින්නවත් නෙමෙයි අපි මේ වැඩේ කරන්නේ අපේ දරුවෝ විතරයි අපිට වැදගත් මේ වෙලාවේ.
A protest was organized to demand the immediate implementation of the proposed Grade 6 education reforms. The protest was carried out under the theme, quote, "Give children the new education reforms," end quote. The protest took place in Mathura. During the demonstration, parents expressed their views, calling for the reinstatement of the reforms that were previously withdrawn.
අපේ අහිංසක දරු පැටවුන්ට ලොකු බලාපොරොත්තුවක් ගෙන දෙමින් මේ රජය විසින් පවත්වාගෙන යන්නට නියමිතව යෝජනා කරගෙන තිබුණු මොඩියුල අධ්‍යාපන ක්‍රමය හකුලා ගැනීම හේතුවෙන් අපේ දරු පැටවුන් අන්තස්සරණ තත්ත්වයට පත් වෙනවා. දශක ගණන් පරණ අධ්‍යාපන ක්‍රමය වෙනස් කරන්න මේ අලුත් නව මොඩියුල් ක්‍රමයක් ගෙනාවා. මේ වගේ ගොඩාක් වටිනා මේ අධ්‍යාපන ක්‍රමය එපා කියලා කියන්නේ ඇයි? මේ ඉංග්‍රීසි මොඩියුල් ක්‍රමයේ පොඩි වැරද්දක් තිබුණා කියලා ඒ වැරදි තැන නිර්දෝෂ කරලා නැවතත් මේ මොඩියුල් ක්‍රමය ගේන්න කියලා තමයි මේ දෙමාපියන් ගුරුවරුන් වශයෙන් අපි කියන්නේ.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya says children's welfare must come first, setting aside political or personal agendas when making decisions.
The official website of the Putlam Zahira College was launched under the patronage of Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya.
The success of a school is not just the exam results. There are lots of other factors. So an institute can be teaching and maybe passing students, but that doesn't complete a student's education. You need all these other activities. I'm sure that Zahira has, which I saw also, like extracurricular activities. All of those are necessary to produce a good citizen. Just passing exams alone is not going to do that. So parents also have to understand when they are making choices.
Subsequently, the Prime Minister joined an observation tour of the Putlam Vidya Vidyalaya yesterday afternoon. We would like to learn about the latest modern equipment. Currently, we solve problems using vernier calipers and gain knowledge that way. But madam, when we enter society, there is much newer equipment. We would like to learn using modern tools so that when we step out into the world, we truly understand how things work. So, we would like to get the opportunity to learn with modern equipment.
I think that is absolutely correct. Syllabi must be updated. Knowledge changes and evolves very rapidly. Accordingly, school curriculum must also change. However, learning isn't just about memorizing facts. You must also learn how to learn. Education cannot simply be about teaching a heap of facts. It must be about how to seek out information, how to conduct research, and how to find information on your own. If we have an education system that develops those skills, then even if the school textbooks are outdated, we will still have the ability to go out and find knowledge ourselves.
ඉස්කෝලවල පොත පරණ වුණාට අපිට දැනුම හොයාගෙන යන්න හැකියාව තියෙන්න ඕනේ.
News First with the people.
Inspector General of Police, Attorney Priyanta Veerasurya, says that the law will be strictly enforced against anyone supporting criminals or engaging in smuggling, and all police officers will be held accountable for their duties.
The Rajarata Sisila Holiday Resort in Anuradhapura, constructed for junior police officers, was officially inaugurated under the leadership of Inspector General of Police Priyantha Veerasurya. The event was attended by a group of senior officials, including the senior DIG of police for the North Central Province.
මේ පොලිසියයි ජාවාරම්කාරයෝයි අපරාධකාරයෝයි පොලිසියට ඉන්න බෑ. නිලධාරීන් ඒ තත්ත්වයට පෙළඹෙනවා නම් ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් තීරණ ගන්න කිසිම ආකාරයෙන් පැකිලෙන්නේ නැහැ.
IGP Veerasurya further said that additional members from the civil security forces will be recruited to serve in the police force to address the shortage of police officers.
I have already obtained cabinet approval. Starting next month, 350 houses will be added to official housing complex of Sri Lanka Police. These will be allocated to officers in an orderly manner. Under a 5-year limit for occupancy, currently there is a shortage of at least 10,000 police officers, while the actual shortfall is around 30,000. To address this, 10,000 officers from the civil security forces have been recruited initially to assist. These 10,000 officers have already been provided, and we are taking necessary steps to bring in the remaining 9,000 in the near future. Cabinet approval has also been obtained to establish a special pay structure. The framework has been finalized and will be submitted to the Cabinet for consideration. Once approved, this will ensure a better and more structured pay scale for officers moving forward.
Meanwhile, a protest against drugs was held this afternoon in the Daduroya area of Chilau. During the protest, residents also took a pledge against drug trafficking by marking their handprints as a symbol of commitment.
What I want to say is this. I respectfully request the President, the IGP and all relevant authorities to intervene in this matter. Even small children in our village have become addicted to drugs. Child abuse is happening. Theft and violence are also taking place. All of this is happening within our village. I ask you to step in and solve this serious problem for us. Many young people living in Daduroya, especially children, have become addicted to drugs. As far as we are aware, as a religious leader standing together with the people here, I too make a special appeal to the President. You have a great authority. Please educate everyone and provide your full support to completely eradicate this drug menace from our village and from our country.
Two petitions have been filed in the Supreme Court seeking a ruling that several clauses of the bill presented to Parliament by the government to abolish the pensions of members of Parliament are unconstitutional. One petition was filed by former members of Parliament M. Premasari, Navaratna Banda, B. M. Deepal Gunasekara and Samansiri Hera. The second petition was filed by former MPs Piyasomo Upali and Upali Amarasiri. In these petitions filed through attorney-at-law Sanath Vijayawardena, the petitioners state that certain clauses of the proposed bill violate fundamental human rights guaranteed by the Constitution of the country. Accordingly, the petitioners have requested the Supreme Court to rule that if the bill is to be passed, it must be approved by a special majority in Parliament and further ratified by a national referendum. The National Building Research Organization has recommended the immediate evacuation of residents from 23 houses located at the foot of the Ambuluwawa mountain in Kampala, identifying them as high risk due to the threat of landslides and falling rocks. Furthermore, the NBRO recommends that these identified high-risk zones should be treated as highly sensitive areas and conserved accordingly without any further construction or development activities.
Following the landslides and rockfalls that occurred in the Ambuluwawa mountain area in Kampala during Cyclone Titwa, the National Building Research Organization conducted a field inspection on the 19th of December. To date, the NBRO has submitted 3 investigation reports regarding the situation to the Divisional Secretary of Udapalata. While 3 specific locations around the Ambuluwawa mountain range were subjected to the inspection, the NBRO has identified an additional 23 houses as medium risk areas. Accordingly, residents of these houses must remain vigilant based on the NBRO's early warning notices or if rainfall exceeds 75 millimeters. They must be particularly alert during rainfall exceeding 100 millimeters within 24 hours. If rainfall exceeds 150 millimeters within 24 hours or 75 millimeters within a single hour, residents of these houses must temporarily evacuate and move to safe locations. Among the areas identified as medium risk for landslides and rockfalls are Gampala Jinaraja Boys School and Jinaraja Model Primary School. On the 27th of November, a teacher from the Jinaraja College tragically lost her life due to water and rocks cascading down from the Ambuluwawa mountain. Her body was later recovered, buried under soil at the Jinaraja Boys School playground. The Divisional Secretary of Udapalata stated that the principals of both schools have been informed to take necessary precautions, considering the institutions as being in medium risk zones. Meanwhile, a protest was held in Kandy yesterday, demanding justice for the deceased teacher and calling for an immediate halt to unsafe constructions in the Ambuluwawa area.
Meanwhile, restoration work is currently underway on the Peradeniya-Kalupalama bridge on the upcountry railway line, which suffered significant damage due to Cyclone Ditwa. As the Mahaveli River overflowed, the central pillar of the Kalupalama bridge became unstable. The bridge is being reinforced and reconstructed so that trains can safely resume travel across it. The restoration work is being carried out by the University of Peradeniya in collaboration with the Central Engineering Consultancy Bureau.
A discussion on the proposed protection of the state from terrorism draft bill, or the PSTA, was held in Jaffna today.
The meeting was convened by the Movement for Equal Rights, representatives from civil groups such as Movement for Social Justice and political parties such as the People's Struggle Alliance, Frontline Socialist Party and the New Democratic Marxist-Leninist Party attended the discussion.
Protection of state from terrorism law. So that bill now has been published in websites. So when we carefully go through this particular law, it's very clear. It's a draconian law in nature, so without any hesitation, we should tell this law should not be passed. Why we are saying like that? In the new law, they try to interpret, the government is trying to interpret terrorism in Section 3, which has been given very broad meaning for terrorism, and that can be misused to any government against the democracy of this country, against the progressive masses.
The mortal remains of late former Minister Nagunatelaka are scheduled to be placed at the Panadura Urban Council tomorrow for the public to pay their final respects.
Former Minister Nagunatelaka passed away early this morning at the age of 63 while receiving treatment in the intensive care unit of the Ragama Hospital. Born on the 7th of September 1962 in Panadura, he entered active politics in 1982 through the Janata Vimukti Peramuna. In 1999, he contested the presidential election representing the Janata Vimukti Peramuna. He served as a member of the JVP Politburo and as its administrative secretary for a long period. Subsequently, Nagunatelaka joined the United National Party and served as the mayor of the Panadura Urban Council for a period of time. In 2009, he held the portfolio of Minister of Tourism as well as the position of Acting Minister of Posts and Telecommunications.
The second phase of the LOLC You, Me, Our Nation social welfare program was implemented today for the 15th consecutive day, focusing on the schools in the Matale district. Under this phase, 200 schools damaged by the recent cyclone Ditwa will undergo renovations.
The LOLC You, Me, Our Nation social welfare initiative consists of 3 phases. During the first phase, essential supplies including dry rations were distributed over 10 days to people whose homes were completely damaged by cyclone Ditwa. The second phase began with the aim of renovating 200 schools affected by the disaster. This phase will be implemented over the next few days, focusing on 6 districts across 3 provinces. Repairs are underway on the water distribution and sanitary systems at the Kumbra Vidyalaya in Matale, affected by the disaster, while the safety fence and staircases at Sujata Balika Vidyalaya in Kubiyangoda are also being restored. Under this program, the sanitary system at Sri Saranankara Mahavidyalaya in Udupilla is also being renovated. The LOLC social welfare initiative is carried out entirely for the benefit of the people of Sri Lanka.
The induction ceremony of the 10th President of the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine was held in Colombo yesterday.
Dr. Madhuvanti Hettiarachchi was formally inducted yesterday as the 10th President of the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine, marking a significant milestone for the country's medical fraternity. The ceremonial induction took place in Colombo, with leading physicians, academics and healthcare professionals in attendance. Addressing the gathering, Dr. Hettiarachchi expressed her commitment to strengthening professional standards, advancing medical education and promoting patient-centered care across the country.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine was founded in 2016 at a time when our specialty needed a clear, independent and unified voice. It was established to promote excellence, uphold professional standards and bring physicians across the country together under a shared purpose. On the 13th of March 2016, a group of 67 dedicated founder members gathered in Kandy, united by this vision and mission. That historic meeting marked the birth of a national professional body committed to strengthening internal medicine and advancing the care of patients across Sri Lanka. To stand here today, 10 years later, as the president of the college I helped to establish is one of the most humbling moments of my professional life. Winston Churchill once said, "Success is not final. It is the courage to continue that counts," and that is exactly what we did.
Established in 2016 as a society, Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine, or SLCIM, is a professional organization formed of specialists in internal medicine in Sri Lanka. SLCIM is dedicated to facilitate specialists in internal medicine in continuous medical education, research and social well-being in order to improve the quality of healthcare rendered to Sri Lankans.
The postgraduate inauguration ceremony of the Masters of Business Studies and Master of Commerce degree programs of the University of Kelaniya was held in Colombo yesterday.
Organized by the Department of Commerce and Financial Management of the University of Kelaniya, the postgraduate Master of Business Studies and Master of Commerce degree programs were inaugurated yesterday in Colombo. The event was graced by Professor W.M.C.B. Vaninayaka, Dean of the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, as the chief guest. Other distinguished guests, alumni, academic staff and students.
Kelaniya University is one of the leading universities in the Sri Lankan university system. We have 17 government universities. According to the World Time Education ranking, this is the most prestige ranking. We maintain number 3. Colombo number 1, Peradeniya number 2, we are number 3, Jayawardhanapura number 4. In addition to the other ranking you may see in the video, we maintain some the good ranking with other different ranking schemes. In that particular process, if you get the degree from University of Kelaniya, it is world recognized. And there is no any problem of the quality of the delivery. There is no any problem of the selecting next level of your education program. All are 100% acceptable. Because we are in top 1,500 universities in the world. Then therefore it is good decision. You have taken very wise decision in your life.
The event marked the formal commencement of postgraduate studies for the new intake of the University of Kelaniya.
Color 2026 was officially launched yesterday with a powerful lineup of workshops, exhibitions, performances and panel conversations, transforming Colombo into a hub of contemporary South Asian creativity and dialogue. Presented in collaboration with India's Take On magazine, the platform brings together leading artists, curators, scholars and cultural practitioners from across the region and its global diasporas.
Color 2026, a cross-border contemporary arts platform featuring established and mid-career artists from across South Asia whose practices are deeply rooted in socio-political, post-colonial, ecological and material research, was officially launched yesterday in Colombo. Organized released in collaboration with Take On Art magazine and its editor-in-chief Bhavna Kakkar from India, Color 2026 aims to create a space for dialogue on contemporary artistic practice across South Asia, connecting diverse voices through visual art, performance and critical conversations. The program opened with a photography writing workshop led by Dilpreet Bullar, managing editor of Take On Art magazine. The exhibition and program, continuing today for day 2, will also include curatorial walkthroughs and panel discussions, offering audiences insight into the conceptual frameworks behind the exhibitions on display. Shared Ground brings together established and mid-career artists whose practices are deeply rooted in socio-political, post-colonial, ecological and material inquiry. Shown internationally yet grounded in local realities, these works enter into dialogue across borders and contexts. Color 2026 features participants from Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan and the Maldives.
A threat by US President Donald Trump to impose fresh tariffs on 8 allies opposed to his proposed takeover of Greenland has drawn condemnation from European leaders.
And I may do that for Greenland.
US President Donald Trump yesterday vowed to implement a wave of increasing tariffs on European allies until the United States is allowed to buy Greenland, escalating a row over the future of Denmark's vast Arctic island. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said additional 10% import tariffs would take effect from the 1st of February on goods from 8 European nations. Trump added that those countries were playing a very dangerous game. At stake, he said, was the, quote, safety, security and survival of our planet, end quote. He said the proposed 10% levy to be introduced next month on goods exported to the US would rise to 25% in June and remain payable until such time a deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of Greenland. However, Trump's threat of an additional 10% tariff has drawn condemnation from European leaders. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said the move was, quote-unquote, completely wrong, while French President Emmanuel Macron called it, quote-unquote, unacceptable. In his response, Starmer said, quote, applying tariffs on allies for pursuing the collective security of NATO allies is completely wrong. We will of course be pursuing this directly with the US administration, end quote. France's Emmanuel Macron said, quote, tariff threats are unacceptable in this context. We will not be swayed by any intimidation, end quote. Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson said, quote, we won't let ourselves be blackmailed. Sweden is currently having intensive discussions with other EU countries, Norway and the United Kingdom, to find a joint response, end quote, he added. European Council President Antonio Costa said, quote, the European Union will always be firm in defending international law, which of course begins within the territory of the member states of the European Union, end quote. Denmark's foreign minister said the threat had come as a surprise. German MEP Manfred Weber, head of the Conservative EPP group in the European Parliament, said Trump's move raised questions about the still-to-be ratified EU-US trade deal negotiated last year. The US ambassador to UN, Mike Waltz, said Denmark, quote, just doesn't have the resources or capacity to do what needs to be done in the northern region, end quote. He told Fox News the life of Greenlanders would be, quote, safer, stronger and more prosperous under the umbrella of the United States, end quote. Meanwhile, demonstrations against Trump's takeover plans were held in Danish cities as well as in Greenland's capital, Nuuk, yesterday, before the tariff announcement. In Nuuk, thousands of people, including the territory's Prime Minister, Jens Frederik Nielsen, waved Greenlandic flags, chanted slogans and sang traditional Inuit songs under light rain. Many wore caps with the words, Make America Go Away, a riff on Trump's Make America Great Again slogan. In the Danish capital, Copenhagen, place cards were held up reading, Hands Off Greenland and Greenland for Greenlanders.
Top officials from the EU and the South American bloc Mercosur signed a free trade agreement on Saturday in Paraguay, paving the way for the European Union's largest ever trade accord after 25 years of negotiations.
European and South American officials have signed a major free trade agreement, paving the way for the European Union's largest ever trade accord amid tariff threats and a deepening uncertainty around global cooperation. The deal, finalized yesterday between the 27-nation EU and South America's Mercosur bloc, creates one of the world's largest free trade areas after 25 years of negotiations. The agreement, designed to lower tariffs and boost trade between the two regions, must now gain the consent of the European Parliament and be ratified by the legislatures of Mercosur members Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay and Uruguay. President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen and President of the European Council Antonio Costa joined the presidents of Mercosur countries at Saturday's ceremony, with the exception of Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, who sent his foreign minister.
We are creating the largest free trade zone in the world. We are creating a market of 700 million people, and a GDP of almost 20% of the global GDP is being traded here. This is phenomenal. And this agreement sends a very strong message to the world. It reflects a clear and deliberate choice. We choose fair trade over tariffs. We choose a productive, long-term partnership over isolation. And above all, we intend to deliver real and tangible benefits to our people and our businesses.
The deal received a green light from most European nations last week, despite opposition from farmers and environmental groups who have raised concerns over a surge of inexpensive South American imports and increased deforestation. Together, the European Union and Mercosur account for 30% of global GDP and more than 700 million consumers. The treaty, which eliminates tariffs on more than 90% of bilateral trade, is expected to come into force by the end of 2026. The deal will favor European exports of cars, wine and cheese, while making it easier for South American beef, poultry, sugar, rice, honey and soya beans to enter Europe.
Iran's supreme leader has for the first time publicly acknowledged that thousands of people were killed during the recent protests.
Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei says actors linked to the United States and Israel were responsible for killing several thousands of people during weeks of anti-government protests in the country. Khamenei said yesterday that those linked to Israel and US caused massive damages and killed several thousands. He accused the two nations of direct involvement in the violence, describing US President Donald Trump as a criminal.
آشکارا تشویق کرد. پشت سر هم مستنداتی داریم که کمک کردن، هم اونها هم رژیم صهیون کمک کردن که حالا اونم.
Iranian authorities have increasingly pointed the finger at foreign powers for the unrest, accusing long-standing geopolitical rivals, mainly Israel and the US, of fomenting instability and directing operations on the ground. Khamenei warned that while Iran would avoid escalation beyond its borders, those it holds responsible would face consequences.
ما رئیس جمهور آمریکا رو مجرم می‌دانیم، هم به خاطر تلفات، هم به خاطر خسارات، هم به خاطر تهمتی که به ملت ایران زد.
According to US-based Iranian human rights activists news agency, a violent response to the unrest has claimed 3,090 lives, with some activist groups putting the death toll far higher. An internet blackout has made it extremely difficult to get clear information. US President Donald Trump recently urged Iranian demonstrators to keep protesting and threatened military intervention if security forces kill them. The US State Department said yesterday that it had heard reports that the Islamic Republic is preparing options to target American bases. It said Iran would be met with, quote-unquote, a very, very powerful force if it launched such an attack, and warned Tehran not to play games with President Trump.
St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia made history yesterday by hosting its first ever Inter-House Karting Championship 2026 in Colombo, marking a historic milestone in Sri Lanka's motorsports arena. From the heat of the action, Newsfirst Onelka Marutunga was on the ground at the championship and brought to us the highlights from the thrilling night.
Behind every helmet is determination, and behind every house is pride. Engines are revving up, and house teams are heating up at the St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia. I am at the karting circuit at Port City, where St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia will be holding its inaugural karting race right here.
For the first time in Sri Lanka, St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia made history by successfully hosting its inaugural Inter-House Karting Championship 2026 in Colombo, marking a landmark moment in the nation's motorsports scene. The exciting event in Colombo attracted students, parents and well-wishers celebrating speed, skill and school spirit.
So we're absolutely proud to be the first school to have go-karting as a sport in St. Thomas's in the school. And many of our boys have gone from strength to strength. They have done well in their individual races. They have done well even in the international field. And so we are absolutely happy with the progress they have made.
I think this is a new start in sports of college sports. We have a dream to start Royal Thomian New Encounter as a karting event.
Organised by the St. Thomas's College Mount Lavinia Old Boys Association 2025-2026, the event aimed to introduce students to motorsport while promoting teamwork, leadership and healthy competition among the school's houses.
I feel very happy as it's very enjoying when you drive and race with friends.
Not only do I feel proud that we are the only school in Sri Lanka to organize an event of this magnitude, is really amazing.
We have brought up karting into another level. That is where the Thomian students, young students, starting from grade 6, they have started karting. We are promoting the younger student being 9 years of age, they are racing.
Sri Lanka's racing sensation Dilantha Malagamwa attended the event last evening, adding star power as he encouraged the young racers and energized the crowd.
Children will learn discipline of driving, and also the other thing is racing is a very intense sport, and there's a lot to learn in racing. And so I mean during our days we would never thought that this will happen in school level, but it's amazing to see what's happening today. I mean, like for us, we went overseas and started racing, which was a very difficult journey. But now, for youngsters, they have this beautiful opportunity and the platform. And I think we should have not only St. Thomas, but today even Royal College they compete with each other. But in the near future, I would love to see that we'll have a inter-school championship.
The night came alive with high-octane Saturday kart racing as students battled it out in a thrilling track with spectators cheering for their respective houses. Alongside the intense inter-house rivalry at St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia, a special invitational karting race featuring the students from Royal College was also held, adding a spirit of friendship and sportsmanship to the championship. The inaugural Inter-House Karting Championship 2026 marked the success of another landmark project by the St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia OPA, setting the stage for future motorsport initiatives at the school.
A special discussion has been held regarding the participation of the Bangladesh team in the 2026 ICC Men's T20 World Cup. The meeting took place between the International Cricket Council and the Bangladesh cricket authorities.
Let's head straight to the action.
During this discussion, it is reported that the Bangladesh cricket authorities focused on the safety and security of their fans, media teams and other stakeholders when playing in India. In light of this, the Bangladesh cricket authorities have once again requested the International Cricket Council to host the matches involving their team in Sri Lanka instead of India. Furthermore, there were discussions regarding moving Bangladesh from Group C, where they are currently scheduled to play, to a different group for the T20 World Cup. Under these circumstances, foreign media reports indicate that Cricket Ireland has rejected the request made by Bangladesh to swap Groups B and C of the tournament. It is further reported that discussions between the ICC and Bangladesh cricket authorities are expected to continue regarding this matter.
And with that, we wrap up Primetime News for tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.